Welcome back, everybody. It is that time of year again, time for the One Piece Top 30. I'm going to run through the rule guidelines, run through the list, and then we're going to talk about the list and some of the placements that I probably would imagine are the most controversial. Now, for the list, the rules are as they usually are. No deceased characters. Not going to do Emu because there's literally no information on how Emu works. A lot of the other vague characters where people were they're no more than a silhouette, we're not going to include. So this is just going to be people who have at least some kind of feats. There are going to be some portrayal people on here just because of how the series works, but you know how it is. And let's crack off the list.
Ulti, Lucci, Weevil, Kid, Crocodile, Jinbei, Sanji, Boa Hancock, Yamato, King, Mako, Green Bull, Doflamingo, Katakuri, Law, Sabo, Zoro, Lucky Root, Fujitora, Ben Beckman, Dragon, Kizaru, Luffy, Aokiji, Blackbeard, Akainu, Mihawk, Shanks, Big Mom, and Kaido.
まるで怪物じゃねえかこいつら来いお前らの力海賊王に値するか見せてみろ
Okay, so the most controversial takes, let's go through some of those and see if I can't elaborate a little bit. Now, people might be asking, why is Ulti on the list? Ulti's on the list because not only was she the most impressive Tobiropo in my opinion, I think outside of Kaido, she might be one of the most impressive Beast Pirates. Not only did she run a gauntlet like Kaido did, but she fought against another Yonko, and while she lost, she still has that on her record. She fought against Big Mom, she fought against Luffy pushing him to needing Gear 4th, fought against Yamato, fought against Nami and Usopp. And I feel like she had the endurance that we expected of the Zoan class. Basically, everyone else was getting, one shot, two shot. Albeit Page 1 did get knocked out by Big Mom. I gotta give him credit on that. But, Saki got shot in the stomach. He was knocked out. Who's who. I mean, we didn't see the durability feats that we really wanted to see from the all-Zoan army. Until you get to Ulti. So I would easily put her on this list. And I would easily put her above a lot of other characters, even some Yonko second commanders. I'm putting her above Smoothie. I would definitely put her above. I mean, Whitebeard Pirates get kind of weird. I don't really know how I would rank that. I would put her above any of the Blackbeard commanders because they just, I don't know, are unimpressive to me. Which would probably lead me to my next take. There are no Blackbeard commanders on this list. And that's because I think they're all garbage. Now, that's a little bit of a stretch. They're not all garbage. Burgess is garbage. Van Augur, I think, has potential. I think a lot of the lesser frontlining commanders have potential. I think Katarina has potential. Pizarro. People like that. But Burgess, I don't really see a lot of hope for. I don't really see a lot for Shiryu. And I know a lot of people have Shiryu as a true in-game villain, but nah. He doesn't impress me in the slightest. He doesn't make it anywhere on my list. And I'm proud to say that. Some people might think I have Sanji kinda low on the list. I think Sanji is right where he needs to be. Um, as we get further towards the end of the series, we just keep getting introduced to new characters and stronger characters. And I feel like end of series, the Straw Hat Crew is going to have some of the strongest in the verse, but we're not there yet. We still have, honestly, a lot of time before that's the case. So I don't think it's odd to have them, maybe not top 10, maybe top 15, top 20 even, but I feel like it's warranted. And for Sanji, I don't see him beating any warlords, honestly. Like, having him over Jinbei and Crocodile, I think is comparable. I think those fights could go either way. I'm going to give the edge to Sanji in that case. But like currently, well, I guess there are no currently state warlords. But like Boa, Mihawk, Kuma, Doflamingo, he's not taking those down. And I think he is a pretty generous spot. I even have him above Kid, which is interesting enough because I know a lot of people think Kid is very underrated as a character strength-wise. And it's possible that Kid has, crazy feats that would put him in the upper echelons of top 15, but we haven't seen it. Honestly, his fight with Big Mom does not impress me. I think there are really cool things that Kid does, but the way he worked in Wano is that he got outshined every time he did something. And everything he did just seemed unimpressive. Like, I think the Faraday cage, I think the railgun, I think those were cool inventions. They didn't get the hype they should have gotten. Zeus was contained, and that was a cool moment, but that was immediately negated by Prometheus, and then they just created Hera, so it's like, okay, get rid of that accomplishment. And then the railgun, while that was cool, Big Mom literally said it was just tickling her, and it didn't seem to be doing any damage. In fact, she was waiting for the railgun to just stop pushing her so she could get up and curb stomp them. And he used it twice, I believe, and both times he needed the push from Law to help get Big Mom out of the area. And even then, it didn't really seem to damage her. The only thing that really seemed to knock her out, or at least get her out of the picture, was the myriad of bombs and then the drop from an island down a hole into lava. So it's like, yes, I think Kid does have the strength. I think we need to see it used better. I think we need to stop seeing him get downplayed in the series itself, and we will stop downplaying him. I have Green Bull fairly low, I think, for an Admiral, but I think his showing is not super great. Honestly, I think Yamato would be a good match for Green Bull. And not to say that, Yamato is too weak, but I think that Yamato would be a decent match. I think Green Bull would still be in that scenario, but that would be a good fight. And all we've really seen him go against is the Scabbards, who aren't super impressive fighters. So I'm not super sold on Green Bull's strength. Yes, he did beat King and Queen, but at this point they had already been defeated, they were weakened, they were recuperating, and he kind of just fought some scraps. And I'm not going to say that he didn't earn the win or that it was too weak for him, but there has to be some obvious takeaway from him fighting weakened characters. A lot of Shanks' crew and Shanks himself are portrayal characters because we really haven't seen them do anything besides portray that they're really strong. So that's why they kind of find themselves on the list. In general spots, I think this is usually where they end up. I don't think Yasop made it this time just because there's only so much portrayal can do for you, and I feel like it's not fair to some of the other characters who have actual strength feats to just say, well, Yasop's on Shanks' crew, so he's got to be super strong. Now, with the top 10 might be kind of weird because I think there are a lot of things that can shift in this area. For example, Luffy is not top 5, and I would understand if you thought he was, and I feel like there's a good argument to be had about that, but I think we're still getting used to this Gear 5 state. We're still getting used to the peak of Luffy's strength state. And I feel like some of these other characters have been at their peak or have trained their peak to a refined state. For example, if Luffy goes up against Kaido again and they do a 1v1, Luffy loses. Luffy is not going to win that fight even with Gear 5th. If he goes against Big Mom, I honestly don't see him winning that fight. Same with Shanks, Mihawk, Kainu, Blackbeard. I don't see him winning those fights. Aokiji is the same way. I think that Luffy still has to grow with this new power, still has to learn how to use it, and still has to show that he can tangle with admirals. Now, the top 5 was almost dominated by pirates, and I think that's pretty fitting for the series itself because there's such a precedent about how Yonko are basically the top dogs. And I think that's the case for a reason. I think they have these emperors sitting here because they are the strongest of the strong. If they could be easily dispatched, then of course the Navy would do it. The world government would have them taken care of, but that's not the case. Now, there's also the idea of, well, Kaido and Big Mom are dead. I don't put any stock in that theory. I think they're both still alive. I think they still have much to do for the story, so we'll be seeing them again. I especially think that Kaido will be showing back up, especially if Pluton is on the table. I feel like those go hand in hand, and the fact that they just disappear without a trace means that there's more to them. You know, the panels showing them floating in lava, the talk about the ancient thing being in Wano, and then we're just gonna leave it there. We're not gonna talk about it anymore. There's so much more to that. There's so much more to Kaido and Big Mom, so I think we're gonna see those in the upcoming chapters. Like, not recent, but sometime soon. And then Shanks fits here because I generally considered him the weakest Yonko. I think with his hockey showing, that kind of pushed him up, and then Blackbeard kind of got. He's had I don't want to say a bad showing. It hasn't looked great for him though, because you know he ran up against Boa, and Boa got his team. He did get hurt, and he was about to win that fight. It really showed up, so he had to leave. And then he rolls up on Law, and Law starts doing damage to him. In fact, Law gets first blood on him. So like his showing is not great. I mean, Blackbeard's a terrible fighter anyway, so it's not surprising. But he shifts around on the list, and I think that kind of wraps it up. Like, I would say there are going to be some things that people don't agree with, and that's fine. You know, it's the whole point of the top 30. Let me know what you guys think down below. Drop your top 30 list. Do you agree, disagree? What spot is the most egregious? What spot is the most fitting? Let me know all that in comments down below, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.